Welcome, everyone, to the Subject 4 podcast. My name is Artemis, and we just booted Garrett off. Hopefully he can come back to After Dark. If you are new here, we are a fan-made podcast. We usually talk about 863 stuff, but since 863 went to book format, it did not feel right to be talking about things that you should be buying and, we don't want people listening into the podcast to get 863 material for free. But now that we have 864 going on, and our fearless leader Overkill is on some cases, we can talk about this stuff. So yes, if you are new here, what is on your screen right now is our Discord stage. The link should be in the bio. How to get to our Discord. If not, bear with me. It's been a while since I've live streamed. And then my computer decided, hey, I'm not going to open any of your system files, so you can't get anything you want. So I'm running on bare minimum. I had like a bunch of like visual representations for you guys, so that sucks. But hopefully I can show you some of the things, help you guys better understand what timeline we are in, what happened to 863, why are we in 864, why is Overkill here? Actually, I can't answer that. I have no idea. Well, I know why Overkill is here, but I don't know why he's here. But with us on stage right now, I have Dusty, and any of my podcast staff are welcome to come in and out as they please, if they have theories or if they want to jump in and say, Artemis, you're incorrect. That happens a lot too. So, but hi, Dusty. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
My head kind of hurts. I spent maybe a good 3 or 4 hours trying to decipher the codes that were found on the
my
files.
gosh.
And then I realized on my second watch through, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Just another rabbit hole.
We'll get to that in a bit. But welcome, everyone. We're back. Yay.
Woo.
Feels so weird to be back, and feels so weird to be talking about 863 again. Maybe we should.
It does, but it's fun.
It is. We should stop calling it 863 if it's 864.
Yeah, but it's just like second nature. 863 is just, I don't know.
It rolls off the tongue, even though when the first 863 started, we were like, wait, what was the numbers again?
Yeah. And now it's just like ingrained.
But yeah, so if you guys are new here, welcome. This is a podcast that Spellbound listens to. Matthias, Bailey, Shenelle, they've all been on the podcast. They've been talking to us. We've done a couple of interviews, and I think one time me and Shenelle and my co-host at the time with the Science Babes, we played Phasmophobia with Shenelle. That was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
It was that was that was when I guess I left my co-host to die from the ghost, and I was hiding
Oh,
behind a
no.
plant. I'm like, good luck.
Isn't that a scary game or something?
Yes. I decided, because I'm not really a gamer, guys. I'm not.
Mm,
There are games I get stuck into and I'm really
same.
good at those. But like I can't just like become I'm not a Jacksepticeye or Markiplier or PewDiePie. I can't just like pick up a game and start going with it. I have to
Yeah.
actually get used to it, and so I decided to play Phasmophobia by myself because I know it was really hard to open doors. Like, because I
Oh,
watched
no.
Jacksepticeye and Markiplier play it, and they always struggled opening
Okay.
doors. So I was like, okay, I do not want to be like a noob and doesn't know how to open doors. So I went and was practicing, and it was so scary. I locked myself in the bathroom, turned off the lights, and
Oh,
just cried.
oh no.
Not my personal bathroom. Like, I didn't go to my personal
Right.
bathroom, but in the game, I was just
In the
like,
game.
yeah, and I could hear the ghost, and I'm all like, yeah.
I don't want to deal it. I
At,
don't want to do it.
at the time, I called my boyfriend. I was like, can you play this game with me? I'm so scared. And he's all like,
That's what I would do, honestly.
it's not real. It's scary.
It's still scary. I don't care.
Talk about scary. What about that drone footage?
That was, I mean, it was sweet, but it was to see it move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of science. Let me get my iPad out. I have a lot of notes for you guys. There's a lot of scientific terms that were going around in this episode. For one thing, let me just stop right here and let me just say this to Matthias if you're listening. Time doesn't flow. Sorry.
It ebbs and flows.
It doesn't flow because it's not like for us though. Okay, for us who are
Right.
stationary beings that are on this timeline, we flow in one direction, but I mean, we can expand and um with space time. When you start learning more about like space time, you can find out that you can actually go forward in the future, you can go back in the future, and if you are flowing, if time is flowing, it is you won't be able to go back or go faster. It's a flow.
Right.
Most people see time as a metronome where it's just a click and we just tick, seconds just go by. But
It's the same speed.
in actuality, it's not. And you can see that there is a saying in physics that your head is actually younger than your feet because it's closer to the gravitational pull of the earth. So like
Interesting.
if time actually flowed, that would not be a real thing. Einstein's theory of relativity explains that it doesn't. That's not how it works. So when he said time flows, I was like, no, it doesn't.
No.
No, time is in its own dimension, has its own. It's three-dimensional. We can warp it. So time is weird. And it's only weird to us is basically the analogy I can give you about why time is so weird is try to explain to a fish about water. It won't be able to grasp. Well, it's a fish too. It probably forgets you in 3 seconds. But if
But still, the concept.
the concept, if the fish had the brain capacity to understand what we were talking about, and you try to explain water to it, it would not understand. The only time that like a fish would understand what water is if you take it out of water.
Right.
And then it would go, oh, wait, something's different. So if we can step out of it, which we cannot. So, but let me bring up, that was just my little rant. No, I do not have a PhD in quantum mechanics. No, it's just a hobby. All right, let's start
I'm
here.
very interested to see what you have because you always break my brain.
The first thing that I have is when they were talking about 432, I was like, hey, that's just half of 864.
True.
I was like,
That's
if you
the
divide 864, it's just 432. I don't know why I put that. I thought I was being smart. Take
but I
that
mean,
with what you
that's
will. Bethany, I can see that she's in the audience. Bethany had an idea about what the numbers 864 actually believes. I'll let her explain it. Hopefully she feels comfortable coming up here or typing it into the chat for everyone. I don't want to take credit for it, but she actually has an explanation of what the numbers actually mean. So if she is
oh,
correct, understanding what half of 864 is really good. Another thing is Project
interesting.
Nexus. I wrote equals Nexus event. So if you've ever seen Loki,
Mm-hmm.
that's what Nexus is. It's when there is a split in a timeline. Project Sunder is the opposite of Nexus. It's to basically heal those fractures, heal those branches. They reference time looping, and you actually had something about time looping. About we've seen a character in 863 time loop, and do you want to explain that? Yeah, and that's basically when wherever Scott, whatever timeline Scott came from, it was looping, but when he was able to, when our team interacted with him, he basically crossed over into 863, so there's no loop going on. Yes. KD Video Production says Groundhog's Day. Exactly. That's exactly what time looping is. They also said something about spiral. It was during the conversation with Dr. Mercer. She said that they can be stuck on a perpetual time loop or even spiral. I don't know what that means. Does that mean like, yeah, like I think of it as flushing, like basically like down the toilet. How come you're muted? I don't know why you were muted. Sorry guys. Dusty, you were muted there for a second.
Oh no.
J Cron 987. Cron could mean Chronos, which is the personification of time in Greek mythology. Cron also probably is the author or inventor the ChromoShift drone. PRPN. I don't know what that means, but that's what it says at the top. But then we find out at the end of the video, the chat is a lie. So everything that we learned through JCron 987 is a lie. So does that mean we should pay attention? Should we keep that name on the back burner? Okay.
That's what, like, there was so much information, but what's true and what's fake now?
Yeah. Where? Let me scroll. I just saw Bethany. So I understand it. This is from Bethany. So I understand it to be each number represents a different branch of the time splinter. So there's the original time 000, so 3 zeros. The first split off of that is timeline 001. The second is timeline 002, and so forth. So timeline 863 is the same principle, just counted. So 863 is the 8th split of the 000, and the 6th off of the 8th, and then the 3rd off of the 6th. Does that make sense? So 864 would be the 8th, 6th, and then the 4th. So if we're thinking of it as, you can draw this out, if anyone is an artist or something, you can draw this out. 0, 0, 0, 0 is the trunk of the tree. And then we have these branches, and basically what Bethany is saying is that 8 were the 8th branch, then the 6th branch off of that branch, and then the 4th branch off of that branch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of. I know it hurts. But if somebody could draw out the it hurts. If someone could draw out the visual, but basically I thought that was interesting, because if you would half that, basically the timeline they were talking to with Dr. Mercer is Dr. Mercer would be closer to the original than we would be. If that makes sense.
Okay,
but like
yeah, it
halfway
does make sense.
closer. And one of the things is I had a visualization. Bear with me. Let me see if I can get it for YouTube here. I had a visualization, even though it's incorrect. I messed up on the order of the albums, but it's still, the principle still stands. And
my thought was, if Nelson can possibly put someone in a loop, whoever might be getting in his way, he can throw in a loop.
Yeah.
Scott was getting in his way, throw it in a loop. He can't make any more forward progress.
Yeah. Because I know that there is some confusion on what timeline we are in. So I drew something for you guys. Let me get that on screen for you. Okay. So basically, you can see it up on YouTube now. And I will share it in the chat. Share it in the chat for Discord here. Basically, when this all started and all these things began, 863 was on its timeline. We had first season, second season. There's the fourth one, but flip the 3 and the 4. We had season 3, and then we had season 4, and towards the end of the season 4, we had a nexus event, basically something that branched us off of 863, so we became 864. So what that event is, we can argue about that. It could be when they, found that back room. It could be when he talked to Deb on the phone call. It could be when they shut off the Spire. Like, there was a lot of events that happened in season 4 that we can argue that that's the moment it branched off. But basically what I went with is something that differs from the book and differs from right now. Matthias right now in 864 does not have the absolute. But in Redacted, the books, Matthias does have the absolute. We saw in the videos, we saw in the episode that Matthias gives Scott the absolute. So I put that as my reference as the fracture, because that is what differs from our timelines. So right. If you have bought the book or have read the book, in Redacted, Matthias has the absolute, but in 864 we don't have it. So that is the major difference between one of the major differences. Okay. I'm not going to give too many more differences. You're going to have to read the book and find them yourselves. But
It's good. You
864,
should read it.
yes, you should read it. Um, but 864 is what we are in. That dotted line that goes up, that is where we are with Overkill, Subject 2, and Bailey. That's what we are learning about right now. I hope that everyone understands that. Everyone get it?
I think it's a helpful visual to kind of like how we got to 864
Even though
versus
it's
863.
incorrect right now. But yeah.
Eh,
Yeah,
it's
that
all
is.
right.
Let me get YouTube. YouTube, I can't see your chat very well. I know, I see a bunch of people typing away over there. Okay. Elizabeth says, I understand it. I think I only understand the whole thing because of the past 72 hours I have had the I have just watched all of the videos to do with Syntec, yeah. 863 going fine, then the split happened and it branches into another timeline. Then the video that we seen saw Nelson trying to get back into the new timeline. Yeah, with this new video.
Yeah.
So another thing is so we've learned about two new timelines. We learned about sorry, let me get my iPad shut down. We learned about 432 and 431. I don't know if anyone knows about this. Let me pull it up so I can show the clip. Bethany actually gave this to me.
Just the amount of timelines that might be out there, just my brain can't comprehend.
I can't get it right now. My computer's all like, nope. You got a picture. We can do pictures. We can't do video.
You're asking too much.
I'm asking too much for it out of it right now. He's all like, I just got over my cold, okay?
Yeah.
So let me get the picture. If any of you guys are curious, I will link the video. Or Bethany, if you want to post the link to the clip of where Overkill originated from, you can do that. Yeah. Okay, she's gonna link it. Thank you. Let me get this picture for you guys. It's actually off of my phone.
Anybody else's heart skip a beat all of a sudden, just for a quick second, when he went to delete the file? After he did it and
it's
explained
Nelson
it,
all
made
over
sense,
again.
I was like, what are you doing?
I didn't. I was one of the people that was screaming in the live chat when it premiered not to open it.
Oh, okay. I mean, it makes sense. I was like, don't open it, but also like after the explanation and then everything that transpired after that, I was like, oh, smart idea. That's why that's why you make these decisions, not me.
Yeah. So in the one of the Overkill videos that we get, I believe it's Darkness has a new enemy. In once you hit like play in the lower left hand corner, there is this like watermark and it says location 013. So we know that is another timeline we have going on. We know Overkill is from 013. He even confessed it to us in one of the live streams, and that is what Bethany is posting in her link. Thank you, Inky. If you guys want to see it, Inky also linked it into the live chat. You can see he basically says he comes from 013. Also in the very, the videos that we get, he calls it the dark timeline is 013. So we are in 864 being led by a guy that's from 013. Also, I know that a lot of people are like, well, how does Nelson know about Megadesk? If you continue watching that video, uh, the dark timeline, um, the Megadesk, the original Megadesk that Overkill had in 013 is destroyed.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
So Megadesk has been a continuation through all the timelines as well.
Yeah. Well, not all the timelines. We don't know how far that Overkill has been. We don't know all the timelines he has been.
True.
My question, though, is how did he get here?
Yeah.
And is he really here? So here's a theory. Here's gonna be
Oh
the
no.
my brain is
No.
really Overkill here. Thank you, Inky. My uh my theory is that Overkill's not really in 864. But anytime that Matthias puts on his glasses, Matthias becomes Overkill. That's my theory. My theory is that Overkill's still in 013, but he's using like what Nelson used the Absolate to control Matthias. These glasses are like the good thing. It's either the glasses or the cane. It's either the glasses or the cane. I think it's the glasses because I mean not in every video he has
He
the
has glasses.
yeah, he doesn't have the cane in every video, but he does have the glasses in every video. And the glasses change.
I would say he's been very particular with what glasses too. Like
Yes. And we've
they're of a
seen
certain.
when we first saw Overkill, he's like going he was like putting on his shoes, he grabs his cane and then he spins the rack full of glasses. So that
Yes.
to me is different Overkills in different timelines. So he has been to a bunch. He might have influence
Oh,
in a bunch. But depending on what glasses he's wearing is what Overkill is. And
oh, I
that's
like
probably
that.
where like
Oh, I like that.
Overkiss and all them are. So no,
I like that a lot.
Ember Immortal on Discord says, is he a hologram then? No, he's actually fully controlling Matthias. But it kind of seems like he's not really fully under Overkill's control, because when he was typing to the Dr. Mercer, he said, "This is Overkill. You might know me as Subject 4, also as Matthias." It kind of seems like it's like a handshake, like they're working with each other. Um, that is my theory. Um, I will be posting that on Reddit because I don't know if I want to post it on Reddit though.
I like
I
that
kind of want
though.
to
That
keep
is great idea.
I kind of want to keep this theory with just Subject 4. I don't really, because like Overkill uses he goes through he's going to
Uses
go through
Reddit.
he's already said that he's going to go through the Reddit. I don't really want Overkill to know that we know that we know that he knows that we know.
Right. That he knows, that we know, that we know.
That made no sense, but okay. Overkill is Nelson. No. Overkill is
No.
Overkill's the good guy. We like Overkill. For one thing, did anyone notice how smart Matthias was in this video? I'm sorry. Matthias never made smart decisions. Let's split up the team. Let's argue about the team. Let's go to location 4 without any backup. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Our Matthias does things out of whim, and you know this Overkill guy though knows about quantum entanglement, knows about quantum pockets, knows about like, and I'm all like, dude, he's like, who is this?
And how cool was that to make the device where you could call different timelines?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, that was
because
so cool.
there's no way our Matthias would know how to do any of that. No way he would know how to contact different timelines. Now,
And
if we're
he
talking about like parallel universes, there is, the chances of that there is a Nelson Cyphus who is as smart as the Nelson Cyphus that we're going up against, being the good guy and fighting the bad, and that could be Overkill. That could be
yeah.
a thing. This could be a good version of Nelson Cyphus. I've always thought that everyone wants to know what Nelson Cyphus looks like. I believe he just looks like Matthias. I think he's just Matthias in different realities.
Like an evil Matthias.
Yeah. Looks like him and everything. Um
Kind of like how they were talking about Subject 2.
yeah, branching off to subject 2. Cyphus was in 432 because he said that he was going to kill Dr. Mercer in a natural way. And he was talking to J. Cron. We don't know where J. Cron is. So conversion not
No.
required. We don't know what timeline he's in. They could have been talking in between timelines. It doesn't necessarily have to be 432. Occam's razor would say that they were both in 432. But I don't like talking about anything in that chat log because we know it's a lie.
Right, we don't know what we can trust.
Yeah. So
Squatter says Matthias, but with a goatee.
yes. And sorry, YouTube, if you can hear my dog snoring. He's being very loud. I'm like,
I don't hear it, so it's okay.
you won't. Discord won't because
Oh,
CRISPR. But YouTube
right.
might be hearing some snoring in the background. No, I haven't put anyone. Well, I put my dog to sleep. Let's go to Dr. Mercer. We know that Mercer worked with Deb on Redacted. She worked on Nexus. But she got blacklisted from Syntec, so she built Sunder. And in the chat log, again, we'll take this with a grain of salt. In the chat log, Nelson says that he destroyed 432, and that the Sunder project can't be copied or replicated. He said that he killed 432 in a different method. We also know that Dr. Mercer takes medication and has a daughter named Lily. And apparently...
Who was essentially a teenager in 2020. Is that correct?
Yeah. Another thing is that Dr. Mercer from timeline 431 found the missing persons poster.
Mm-hmm.
But then we found out later towards the end of the video that 432 didn't die. So who made that missing persons poster, and how come 431 could find it? If this was all a lie, why would the U.S. government have a missing posters picture? I don't think...
Does that go back to Gary Reynolds, maybe?
Maybe. But there's a part of me that thinks, and we're going to put a YouTube poll on this, because I know I'm not the only one on this. Four, three, two. Okay. There's a poll. Inky, if you want to copy this poll and put it into our Discord chat, you can. Basically, it says, do you believe that the person that they were talking to in 432 is actually Dr. Mercer? Like, Dr. Mercer could be killed, and they could be talking to... Who knows who they're talking to in 432?
Yeah. It just seemed way too convenient for it to all of a sudden her to be like, "Oh, I'm here now."
Mm-hmm. It was
I don't
interesting
trust
because it was interesting because Sam and Bailey didn't trust 432. They just kept going, let's go back to 431 and give her what we have.
her. Right.
So they had that kind of like gut feeling as well. So do you guys believe that who they were talking to in 432 is actually Dr. Mercer? Is she dead or alive? We don't know. But we'll get off of Dr. Mercer for a second. Let me double check.
One sec.
Project Nexus allows Nelson to time loop a timeline indefinitely, manipulates timelines. He's in control. Access to the tree. He has access to the branches. He can get access to the trunk of the tree. If the only way he can get access to a timeline is if someone in that timeline turns on the Nexus. So then if we go into Chrono Shift, which is a drone, it is a Project Nexus stability control system. It's powered by the Absolate. Bailey made that observation in the blueprints. It has a temporal control, which basically controls the timeline and can control the timeline, and it can transition into different timelines. Quantum Time Navigation Array is a guidance system. Bailey made the observation of inter-timeline GPS. So it has a GPS. We know that it has a GPS. We know that it can control timelines and transition into timelines. It also has a air tag, which is what Sam called it, which is called the temporal flux generator. Well, the quantum flux emitter, sorry, is the air tag. It can create a warp of pockets of time dilation, which slow down or stand still time. And then
Makes my brain hurt.
Yeah. Because again, time does not flow. We can manipulate it by time dilation. Which can slow down or stand still. So basically, does it make a black hole?
That's possible.
Now, black holes would speed up time. So it would be making negative time particles. Interesting. And this is how Nelson theorized. This is how Overkill theorized that Nelson killed Mercer in a natural way by basically speeding up time around her. To basically die of old age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions, anyone? No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
Let's go into time dilation. Let's see if I can get you guys to understand what time dilation is. Basically, time dilation was theorized by Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, E equals mc squared, proves that time can fluctuate. If you're traveling the speed of light, your time clock basically will slow down. So if you're traveling 259,792,458 meters per second, you can slow down your time. Could even, if you go even faster than that, you can even stop that. So basically what this drone can do is make someone go the speed of light to slow down their time. Weird.
Interesting.
The thing about the speed of light is that
So,
you, it will, a light particle will always go 259,792,458 meters per second. Regardless, whoever's observing it, it will always move that speed. So basically, the speed of light does not depend on time.
right. It stays.
And because of space time, we know that time stretches and contracts depending on the velocity. So that is why time does not flow, because I have never seen a flowing river stretch and contract unless you like put things in the way of it. But you
Right.
can only do that depending on the velocity. Time loops. We can talk a little bit time loops. You talked about it with Scott being trapped in a time loop. A lot of people theorize that deja vu is a time loop.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it, because you're like, you feel like you've been here before.
Mm-hmm. And then another bit of science that was kind of thrown out there that I don't know if it was thrown out there because it's fancy. But I'll have to go back and look at the drone. But if I tell you guys the science, maybe you can theorize what the heck the drone does. But it also said that there was a quantum entanglement. What is quantum entanglement? Quantum entanglement, we still don't really understand. A part of it is like Schrodinger's cat. When you observe two particles and you take the time to observe a particle, it will be one way and the other particle will be another way because they're quantum entangled. So there is a. Okay, how do I put this? Let's say you take an atom, you split the atom, so you have two parts of this atom that are spinning clockwise. You take one to Los Angeles, take the other to New York. Now, the one in Los Angeles is spinning clockwise, so is the one in New York. Let's say you reverse the polarity and you reverse the spin of the one in Los Angeles. At the exact same moment, the one in New York will also spin the different direction because they're quantum entangled. We don't know how they communicate. We don't know how they do it. We just know that they do it. There
So no
are
matter what, they're
theories.
connected.
There are theories about that. So, is this drone using quantum entanglement to jump from timeline to timeline? Because, yeah, I I I was on the official Discord a lot
Mm-hmm.
today, and the way that I described how I see this drone, and if you guys want to be with me on this theory, you can. If you don't, and you think that the drone does something else, please let me know. The way that I see this drone is anytime that humans are going to explore the unknown, we like to send machines first. So,
As a
we,
test.
yes, we when they found the Titanic, we sent a robot to find it. When we want to explore Mars right now is the only planet in our solar system to be completely habited by robots. because we send them up there. We keep sending these
Right.
robots up there to explore it. So the way I see this drone is that it is time hopping to basically observe and to be, basically it's Nelson's RSV, his little rover that he is sending through the timelines to see, to control
What
the
happened?
timeline, how he can control the timeline, to set up the spires, because we know that the only way he can influence a timeline is if someone inside the timeline um, gives him the activation. So it turns on the spire, does all these other things. So the only way that he can influence a timeline is sending this drone in so he can basically unlock the door from the back door or something like that, if that makes sense. That's the way
So,
I visualize the drone.
like if it's not the term I want to use, but say a wormhole was used in one timeline, that means from the following timelines out, there's a wormhole that could be accessed, correct?
Well, wormholes would be like bridges. So it would be, if we're going to talk about like a tree, a wormhole would be a bridge from one branch to another.
Okay.
So you're just building, that's what a wormhole theoretically would be. Whether this drone is capable of making wormholes, I haven't seen anything like that. We do know that the Spire was able to boost his. I think the Spire is basically the wormhole maker.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Because, yeah. Uh,
I'm just
anyway, so
thinking
does
on it all
your
now.
head hurt? Oh, by the way, the cipher, the QKZYMNVMNVMWKZ, that was found on some of the files that we got. We also got another one on the Chrono Shift drone. We had another code, IZPZQHZNNZ. I spent about 3 or 4 hours trying to decode it. I I ran it through every cipher. I tried to do the Caesar cipher. I tried to do the Caesar cipher from shifts 1 through 26. There's nothing. I would get nothing off of that. I ran it through a couple of other ciphers. They don't work. I've even tried to turn it into binary by using consonants as 1 and vowels as 0. There's not enough vowels there. Um, you know,
Right.
do we have any vowels? Well, Y, I,
Why?
Y and I are the only vowels I see. So no consonants there. I tried using Roman numerals, nothing, because there's no Z, there's no Q or P in Roman numerals. So that was out the door. I tried it many different ways. I tried I tried a lot. um
Yeah. Because
and
there's got to be something.
well, the thing is that Matthias, when he was sending the chat log to um Dr. Mercer in 431, he said that files can get kind of corrupted while they go through the timeline. Maybe this is just a
True.
corruption. Also,
True.
do we want to believe it? Do we
Yeah.
want to believe anything in these documents? Does Nelson actually have a Chrono Shift drone for Project Nexus? We saw a video. So,
Right. Could it just be fabricated?
yeah. Think the Flash, Artie. If you vibrate fast enough, you can travel to another Earth. No, it's not vibration. It's not vibration. It's the energy that you would have to create to travel to a multiverse. See, if you vibrate, let's take a cinder brick wall. Well, most of you guys are in a room right now. I want you to look at a wall. That wall is filled with different molecules. You're filled with molecules. And in between those molecules is a space. So if you can vibrate as fast as those molecules are vibrating in that wall, you could slip through the wall, theoretically. So I don't know what vibration would have to do with it. Michio Kaku, my favorite theoretical physicist. He's one of my favorites because he can turn theoretical physics into layman's terms.
He makes it understandable.
He does. And he talked about basically being able to tune in to a frequency, not a vibration, but a frequency. If you can tune into a different frequency, like right now, as you are sitting here listening to my voice, wherever you are at on the planet, you're being hit by radio waves. Right now in your living room is the, Moscow radio station. Why can't you hear it on your radio? Because you're not tuned into it. The moment that you turn on your radio and you can tune into that frequency, you can tune into Radio Moscow. But same thing with different, theoretically, again, in theory, if you can tune into a different frequency of a different Earth, so a 461, if you can tune into that frequency, you can, and make your molecules tune into that frequency as well, you could cross over into a different timeline, in theory. I think in the video is real, but the chat log is fake. What's interesting about the video is I need to go back and watch it again about the drone. In the upper right-hand corner, I haven't had time to study it. I was watching on my TV, so I didn't really look close enough. But if you guys want to go back and look at it, in the upper right-hand corner of the footage is a time stamp. And I believe it does freeze. Really? And it does get manipulated, and it does slow down as it's doing its thing. But
I gotta pull that up now.
I believe it is doing that. The science of this drone, there's a lot of science, there's a lot of things that are temporal flux generator, quantum flux emitter, quantum timeline navigation array. There's a lot of science words being thrown out there, which I haven't put the science together to figure out what exactly this thing can and cannot do, and if you can figure out what this thing can and cannot do, then you can figure out what it's being used for. There's another file that I wanted to talk about. I have to go to my Dropbox.
It's kind of split. YouTube thinks we can trust Dr. Mercer 58% to 41%, but Discord is.
I don't trust her.
Oh, yeah, sorry, 432.
But
Discord is.
Did
12 to 3.
Did her PFP show up 432?
Oh, I don't know.
431 has her PFP. Did 432's PFP ever show up? Inky said yes, it did. Okay. Oh, the drone log. I need to pull up the drone log. Because Overkill's timeline is in the drone log.
Was it?
Yeah.
That was a delayed response to that, but
Me? Am I being
no,
delayed?
me.
Oh.
No, me. I was
Oh.
like, it took me a minute to process.
I should catch up the brain.
Yeah.
Okay, drone log. Where are you? Ah, my head. It's so bright. Why are you so bright? We've got timeline 234, timeline 345, timeline 013, which is Overkill's timeline, timeline 135, timeline 231, timeline. Well, why don't you guys go in order, please? Start with 1.
Just filter.
Just like, God. Sorry. Timeline 345 and timeline 432. Okay. 2 interesting things that I observed here that I also seen on Reddit and I've seen everyone talk about. That Overkill's timeline is in here, which is 013. Mission objective is timeline stability assessment. The temporal stability is at 98.7%. Power consumption is at 46.1%. The operator is S. Brown. S. Brown is also operating in timeline 231, which he's in 2 places at one time, so that must mean this is an alternate. We also have, it also says in Overkill's timeline, stable timeline, no action required. So basically, this is probably why Overkill calls his timeline the dark timeline. That Nelson's influence is final. And I think probably the only thing that was stopping that influence was Megadesk. But whether this S. Brown was able to, this operator S. Brown was able to destroy Megadesk is one thing. Okay.
Oh, that could be.
Also, the only timeline that Cyphus is the operator is timeline 432, the timeline that we were communicating with. Temporal unstable induction, so it's at 13%. It's using 95% of its power. Cyphus is the operator, and DNR, which Overkill thought it stood for did not return. So, I immediately thought do not resuscitate.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
That's the only DNR I know is don't resuscitate. But he thought did not return.
So, is it possible, do you think, that the drone could, oh, what's the word I want to use? Escort a person?
I don't think so, because it says that it produced particles, quantum entangled particles in front of it to protect itself. And unless it can do that for a person, I don't think it could do that. The only person we've ever seen cross a timeline is Scott and April.
True. Because my thought was, maybe what if Nelson went to 432 and it was Nelson that we were talking to as Dr. Mercer?
Maybe, well, the thing about 432 is that it doesn't look to be stable. But again, this was planted by the bad guy. Who knows if this is true? Maybe
True.
432 is perfectly stable and it is also a dark timeline. That could be as
It's
well.
just another rabbit hole to distract
I
us.
know. I'm kind of under the influence of like Overkill, where Overkill's all like, let's see if we can find more cases because he's done with this one.
Right. Right.
I'm kind of there with him. Like, did Nelson sit there in Photoshop and make this whole like missing persons poster? I don't know.
That's a lot of work to get access to Megadesk.
Well, you want Megadesk, don't you?
That's true.
So, all right. Do you have anything, Dusty, that we haven't talked about? I think
I
I've
do
gone over
not.
my theories.
Yeah, I think we've touched on everything that I had thought of.
All
The
right.
only interesting thought that I thought that I came across was, and granted, the chat logs we can't really trust,
Mm-hmm.
but there wasn't many words capitalized in the chat log, but the word I was, like EYE.
There is, that's been going around on the official. There's a bunch of like words that are capitalized that shouldn't, and there are words that aren't capitalized that shouldn't. Like Mercer was not capitalized, so the M.
Right.
So people were taking all that, and I was just kind of like, I'm still trying to deal with these like schematic codes.
Right? There's so much.
And like, okay, for example, for codes, let's take the code IZPZQHZN. There are 3 Z's in that one word. It's an 8-letter word and it has 3 Z's. When you are trying to decipher a code and you see repeating letters, those are mostly vowels.
Mm-hmm.
So if you try to look up a 8-letter word and 3 of those letters are a vowel that repeats, there is no word out there that has that.
Interesting.
I was trying to, okay, don't judge me. I'm a Slytherin, and this is what we do. I hate Scrabble. Hate it. I
Okay.
hate the game. I don't mind Boggle, but I hate Scrabble. Scrabble seems like homework.
Yeah.
I hate it. And it's probably because I'm dyslexic and no Scrabble for me. But my friend Sean, you guys know him. I call him Boo Bear. He's been on the Twitch channel a couple times. He was on the snack video. He loves Scrabble. So I decided I'm gonna play Scrabble with him, but I'm going to beat the crap out of him. I can't beat him because I hate it, so I'm not good at it. So what I did was I found a Scrabble word generator on Google, and basically started coming up with these like amazing words. He's like, "You're actually really good." I'm like, oh, "Thanks."
Thanks, I'm awesome.
Thanks, I know. You don't want to play me anymore, do you? And he's all like, "No, I want to keep going." I'm like, "Okay, I've been cheating.
Oh, no.
I've been cheating." And he was all like, I figured. He knew. He knows me. He knew I was cheating. He's all like, "There's no way you knew how to spell this word incorrectly to get triple points." And I'm all like, "Yeah, I don't know." So,
right? I'm just that good. What are you talking about?
so I was using this like Scrabble generator thing, and I went through like each vowel, an 8-letter word, A-E-I-O-U, and sometimes Y, and could not find a triple same vowel word that's 8 letters that made sense. So I did find, that was on my phone. Let me pull up my phone. I did find possible clues to the YMNVMN. Again, we have repeating letters in there, so they're probably vowels. So I went through all the vowels and tried to find something. And it is a 6-letter word that has 2 vowels that repeat both times, M and N. So that word could be put out, output, hot pot, sedged, ledged, ragtag, picnic, rom-com, cosmos, or mayday. And the only 2 words that subject for, because I did post this, I posted this on the official and I posted on the podcast Theorist Theater. And the 2 words that stood out to subject for was cosmos and mayday. But if you take those letters and try to program them into the other letters, it doesn't make sense for either mayday or cosmos.
Okay.
So I don't
those
know.
are the ones that are closest, but still. Oh, we got a inky hot take on YouTube.
Okay, let me go over to YouTube. Ooh, inky. Hot take saying Megadesk and the Spire are the starter points where Nelson can come through to control the timeline. 013 is stable with Megadesk destroyed because he probably activated the Spire. 863 is cut off completely because there is no Megadesk, no Spire activated. Existent 864 has Megadesk active, and now on 431 and 432 have Dr. Mercer's connections. If the DNR stands for do not resuscitate, did we just reactivate a timeline that was safe from Nelson's grasp? If the timeline is looping, we might have compromised 431 Mercer and made the loop it was stuck in restart. I don't know. The problem about timeline 013 is that they didn't use Megadesk. They destroyed Megadesk. So apparently Nelson doesn't want to use Megadesk. Nelson doesn't want Megadesk. So whether this operator Brown destroyed it. What did the chat log say? It said something about said something about no more influence from the other timelines or something like that. And that's probably what Megadesk is doing. Chat log. Talk about
I'm trying to find it.
Okay, towards the bottom, Cyphus says, now we must focus on securing our control over the other timelines. We can't afford any more interference. I believe that Megadesk is running interference.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm. And that's why he didn't want Megadesk. He just wanted Megadesk destroyed. But he can use Megadesk. If who knows what that file was going to do.
Yeah, we don't probably stop Megadesk from interfering almost.
Okay,
maybe.
This is what you do. You take a laptop. Okay? You download that file. You go out into the middle of the desert with no Wi-Fi connection, no way it can access any other device. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's just you, this laptop, and this file. It cannot influence anything and cannot do anything. And then open it.
There you go.
Yeah. And then let's see
That's
what was
perfect.
in it. There's something else
Just
that...
open it and run away.
Yeah, make sure you don't have your laptop on you. There's no Bluetooth connection. This is an old laptop that can't do that. All it has is just the file, and it can't talk to any other devices, and it's not connected to Wi-Fi, connected to nothing. You're in the middle of Death Valley. It's right next door to you, Matthias. Go to Death Valley and open it. Let's see. But you deleted it.
Yeah, don't take any phones. Don't take the Tesla. Nothing. Just...
Yeah. Rent a car. You're going to have to pay for gas, but you can do it. You can do it in the name of my curiosity. There's something else. It was in the files. Some people were going... It's like I've seen so many people talk about it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me go to Reddit. Let's go to new, because somebody's probably posted it again. I like how that somebody thought the drone looked like the Eye of Sauron.
She says there's an exploit.
I don't know
Is
what
that possible?
is.
How is that possible?
Sorry, chat. Matthias just jump scared me.
Oh no.
Because a video started playing on Reddit.
Oh no.
It was Matthias's favorite saying is back. Is like, is that possible? Is that possible? Is that possible?
He's on a loop. That's why he says it so much.
No. Oh, in the files, it says, notice a who wrote this? Elzon42. Thank you, Elzon42, if you're listening. You probably aren't, but they said, notice an obvious message on the file names in the Dropbox files. And the chat log, the CS test, the TFG, the chrono shift, the drone log, if you line them all up, it says everything we have worked for. There's words in it.
Interesting.
So that's just a message to Nelson from Nelson. But I do believe that this was Nelson's last attempt at grasping 864.
Yeah.
I do agree with that ink. You know, there's the Spire in 864. Why haven't they gone back and just like destroyed it? They're like, we shut it down, yay team, handshakes, like high fives all around. Let's destroy it, please.
But it's just a switch, and it's still very vulnerable.
Yeah. Anyone, a little kid could go in there and all of a sudden, what's this button do?
I like to push buttons.
I do too. That's what gets me in trouble a lot.
Me too.
Especially like recording. I'm all like, hi, what does this do? Click.
It's a pretty green button. Let's find out what happens.
Himnal says, I can never pronounce your username. Hinami says, let's blow it up. I agree. Let's blow it up. If you need any help over Overkill, I still have my license to teach stems, so that means I can get my hands on some chemicals.
There you go.
And if it has a bathroom in it, just load up that toilet with dry ice and then flush.
I think we've officially been told we're not allowed to go to the Spire because we like to push buttons.
Oh, but if I had dry ice in a toilet,
right?
That counters button pushing any day because you just blow up all these toilets. By the way, that is not me. as legal representation for myself, I am not encouraging anyone to try that at home.
Don't
I'm not
do this.
encouraging anyone to bring dry ice to their school or their office
Nope.
or their workplace and, going, I wonder if this actually works. I'm not encouraging that. It does. It freezes the pipes instantly and it
Not
causes
good.
pipes to burst because frozen pipes burst. So do not
Do not.
play with dry ice in a toilet.
Not a good idea. Just don't. Not at all. Don't
No.
even. Don't play with it at all.
So, okay, let's go to theories. So, if you are new here to Subject 4, we'd like to give you guys the limelight, bring you up on the stage. If you have a good working microphone, make sure you are free of background noises. This is rated PG. There is no, the moment you cuss or, don't be rude. But the moment you do, we will have to kick you off. Please be aware that spellbound people can be listening. So we are going to be nice. We're not going to be like, oh my God. Well, I kind of did already, didn't I? I said that Matthias was dumb and Overkill smart. But, we're not going to bad talk anyone. We're not going to bad talk Subject 2 because she was easily influenced. Like, we're not going to do that. Please be aware of people's feelings. Please be aware of just be nice. Just be chill.
Just
if you
be
come
good.
up on, be good. Make sure you're free of background noises. Run to the bathroom. Get on your phone. Your phone has a microphone on it because that's a telephone. And it's got a good working microphone because that's what it's supposed to do, guys. So if you're on Discord here, it is just like a Zoom chat. If you have a burning, itching theory that you would like to jump up on stage here with me and Dusty and talk, please raise your hand. It's just like a Zoom chat. We've all done it with school or work. So I will... Sluggy the Slug says, I would like to put my thing in the chat. What if Nelson's drone wasn't for killing? It was a mind control and it was a success. And Dr. Evelyn Mercer is mind controlled by Nelson and the timeline is in a loop. But he has control over Dr. Evelyn Mercer and Nelson is aware of the time loop being looped. The drone wasn't returned because Nelson wants the gang to not be able to have that power, or the drone is destroyed by Dr. Evelyn Mercer, who is mind controlled by Nelson. How come I never made a connection that the drone is where Dr. Evelyn Mercer is and our team could just be, hey, go find that. Where is that? Go find it for us so we can make it good. That would work.
That would be, multiple assets across multiple timelines.
Yeah. All right. Do we have... Let me bring up the stage. Do we have people who have the hand raised? Godbreaker! I'm going to invite you to speak. Because you were the first one I saw. Hello, Godbreaker.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Hey. It's been a while since we've talked.
I know, it's been a long while. So do you have a theory or question or...
I want to start with questions first because I haven't really been catching up on what has been going on. First off, where did this whole 864 thing come around?
It started at the end of season 4. We don't know what caused the branch. We can argue about that. It could be when the spire got shut off. It could be when they turned off the device in Deb's office. It could be, I don't know. It could be when April ran away crying. That's her name, right? April. Am I getting her?
I think it was Autumn.
Autumn, sorry. It could be when she ran away crying. But one of the key differences between 863 and 864 is the absolute and who has it. We saw Matthias give Scott the absolute. In 863, in the books, Matthias has the absolute. In our timeline right now, Matthias does not have the absolute. So if you have been reading the books, you know that that is one of the biggest differences. There are more differences. I'm not going to give them out. You guys can make them yourselves. You can find you can observe them yourselves as you read the book. Please buy the book. Please read the book. But there are more differences between our timelines. We are in timeline 864. And if you go back and watch it, even Overkill says we are in 864 in this episode. So no, we are not in 863. 863 is now purely books. So that's when it happened, basically.
Okay. So I realize it, since 864 is like a different branch that they created when it all started with the absolute, like when Matt gave Scott the absolute, that's when like it became a different timeline.
That's the example that I use. It could be when it went into book format. It could be when Deb made her phone call to the team. It could be that. But one of the biggest differences is that when the absolute was handed over, there was kind of like a fracture in the timeline, and we are no longer in it. We're no longer in 863. We are now 864. So I've been thinking, should we be changing the name to Project 864 then? Since we don't really talk about the books, because you should be reading the books and doing your homework.
Start changing that now.
Yes. Welcome to Project 864.
Sounds weird.
I know, it does sound weird. Is it 864 because now subject 4 is the main key? Hopefully.
I mean, we were always the main key.
I know. Matthias back in 863 was helpless without us, but Overkill seems to know what he's doing. I'm scrambling to keep up with Overkill right now, and usually I was not that way.
So when it comes to theories, I sort of had like a few, especially in the last video that they uploaded, where Matt found this unreleased video in his file when he was like looking back at the 863 videos, like the one that Nelson never uploaded.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking to myself, like, I remember that it was talking about like how there was like a search history about like how to like pretend to be someone's boss to a company, something like that. And so, and the note on the folder, what did it say again? Something about I just thought you should know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at first, this clearly takes place somewhere in the events of season 3, where all the like writing on the walls were starting to happen. And when I read that that note about who sent it, who wrote it, my instant thought in my head that this had to have been Deb doing this, because as we know from season 4 that she has been looking over what has been going on, and again season 4 she got so much information from their database, so she probably found out about this beforehand. And so this is probably her way of saying, like, I thought you should know this, because as we know right now, that at the end of season 2, that was not Matt who was talking to Deb in that situation. That was Nelson basically pretending to be Matt, or like at least gaslighting everyone. And so this was probably her way of saying, like, hey, your boss is not who he seems, or like something like that. Because I think after that video, the season 2 finale episode came uploaded, maybe Deb saw it and she was like, something is off about subject 1. Because as we know, Deb knows more about Nelson than anyone else. So maybe this was her way of like trying to show that something was going on. And like probably and I guess the reason like why Nelson never uploaded this was because we know subject 4, I mean us, we're clever. We can like figure this out, and probably could have brought his whole plan to manipulate the team like come to fail. So that was my initial theory when I first saw it.
So when that is probably what everyone else thought too. I think you should know. But you said something, and I'll see if I can get it word for word of what you just said. You basically said Deb knows Nelson very well. Also, it goes the other way around as well. Nelson also knows Deb very well. So what Nelson did was he led breadcrumbs to the lost footage, the I thought you should know, the breadcrumbs to 432, 431, and the drone. He led us to all of these files because he knew we would be curious, and it sounded like it would be something that Deb would do. But in fact, it was Nelson. And we know it was Nelson because of the do not open file. And when Matthias went to delete it, it came back and said, no, open me. And then he deleted it again. And the next time it came back and it says, you will not win. That's clearly not Deb. And the fact that they were talking in the chat log and Nelson said that he had killed 432, and 432 started chatting back and was very much alive. So we know that he led us to this. He was trying to split the group up when he was pinning it on Underkill. That's why they didn't upload it. He probably didn't upload it because he didn't successfully pin it on anyone. He probably didn't upload it because, he basically, it didn't work when he was trying to split up the team. It didn't work. Because he tried really hard to make Tanner look like the bad guy. So
He tried really hard. It just didn't work.
Yeah, and it didn't work. So he didn't upload it because it didn't work. And then Nelson is a very resourceful guy. Even though something didn't work doesn't mean that it's useless. So then he used this unuploaded episode to pique Matthias's curiosity, because Matthias doesn't remember any of this. So of course he's going to go down the rabbit hole to understand what was going on, to figure out why this wasn't uploaded, to figure out all these like breadcrumbs, that it was basically a trap for our Matthias, but luckily our Matthias was Overkill and figured it out. So that's my theory. You said you had another theory?
So it was sort of like the start of this. Actually, it was a very old theory that I have had for a long time, probably around like the half of season 4, like when the team went to Dev's hideout where she has been like hiding for all these years, there were like files of different projects and different numbers. So my theory that, and this was like post subject for or like post season 4 finale, that because of your theory about like timelines happening, could these have been like timelines that the original timeline dev sort of like counted like different projects that were like put in on the table like to stop Nelson but didn't work until A63 rolled around? And probably since the original was having contact with the A63 version of dev, that she had access to these folders. And so another theory that I had, and it's rather grim, is that as we know right now that Wesley's death was an absolute point, meaning that his death had to happen for events to occur. So my theory was that each one of these numbers was a date to when Wesley died, because we know that our Wesley, A63 Wesley, was killed in August 6, 2003. So when we are looking at the from 432 and 431, it tells me that that possibly that timeline's Wesley died at March 3rd, 2001 and 2002.
Oh, so the different timeline numbers. So this is a different theory from Bethany. Bethany believes that the numbers are the location in of their branches. You believe that the numbers are the dates in that timeline that Wesley died.
Yes.
Interesting.
That I would agree with that theory if we weren't in 864. We are in 864, but August still happened. Like the time didn't change for us, because everything that happened back in the videos is still part of our timeline. We just branched off at a particular date. So his death date didn't change in our timeline in 864. It's still it's still August the 6th, 2003 for us. So that's my only that was my only like counter to that theory. But it would be interesting if it was the death dates of different Wesleys. God, how many times is this guy gonna have to die though?
I mean, it was an absolute point, which I guess the absolute point is probably what Deb stated during March 5th. Like, March 5th was an absolute date. So to me, it was saying that no matter what the team did to try and stop it, Nelson, or like Ben, if he was being controlled at that time, would still have broken in, got in the vials of the serum, locked them up, and I guess to an extension destroyed the Apple II in Dev's hideout. That, like, I guess one of those you could change, but I think the biggest absolute point was that he was gonna get the serum, no matter what. Mm-hmm. That he was gonna break in. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm thinking about the word absolute. Sorry.
We already know what, I mean, the word absolute has come up so many times. First, absolute date, absolute points, and now Nelson calling himself the absolute.
No, because in this chat log, Nelson refers to the absolute as a different entity. In the chat logs, let me pull it up.
They say something like the absolute will be happy or something like that. I see if I can find it.
Excellent. The absolute maintains his power. And then Cyphus responds, as it should be. The future is mine and nothing will change that. I believe the absolute is this Nelson's Overkill. It's just another persona of him.
So, I guess for him to become like the absolute, he has to like have complete control over all timelines where he has gone beyond being called Nelson, just being called the absolute.
Bethany says, I believe that Overkill could be the absolute. Don't say that. No. I think the absolute.
Or maybe.
I think because the thing about the word absolute, like you're saying, we have absolute times. We have things that when we use it in terms as absolute dates and times and points, it means those are inevitable. Those we cannot get around. Those are going to happen. And it's like, because Nelson is such a narcissist, he's decided to create a different persona of himself called the Absolute because he's inevitable. He's Thanos. He is going to happen type of thing. Like, I think it's more of a bad Nelson thing because he's like saying, like, no, this is going to happen. I am going to take control of the timelines and I'm going to, rule or whatever and be absolutely in control. I think it just goes with the narcissistic personality of Nelson. But yeah, it was interesting that it was brought up. So
So it says that he has control of a timeline, but I think he still has other timelines that he has to take control of in order to actually call himself that. I don't think he's in that state already, because he clearly failed to take control of timeline 863. He failed.
yeah.
So
Bethany says Overkill is from 013. Overkill again. Oh, once again, go. If you guys, I like to listen to live streams and fall asleep to them. I like to listen to a lawyer talking about cases that are going on and her live streams. I like to listen to them and then fall asleep. I encourage you to go back and listen to Overkill's live streams because Bethany, there are little breadcrumbs in his live streams because Bethany brings up Overkill's from 013. That was in a live stream. Overkill said that he knew of Deb before she could walk. That was in a live stream. So subject for we definitely need to be Bethany, if you can find that clip. I appreciate it. She continues, Bethany continues in this paragraph. So Deb would have been from either at least 013 or a timeline after that. It's probably safe to assume the same for Nelson. So Overkill came before Deb and Nelson, so he is the absolute. I think that Overkill, there's a Matthias, a Deb, a Sam, a Woods, a Bailey in every single timeline from 000 to 863, 864. There are different variations of them. I believe that now that our Matthias is Overkill in 013. And that would make sense because Deb, there would be a variation of Deb. So that Overkill from 013 knew Deb before she could walk. That doesn't apply to every timeline, though. She could because again, we're talking about parallel universes. Parallel universes, anything could happen. Deb could be 89 and Overkill could just be born in any universe. It could be there could be a universe out there. This is going to be weird for everyone, but bear with me. There could be a universe out there where Deb and Matthias are married. There could be a universe out there where Deb and Woods are married. There could be a universe out there where Deb is Natalie Portman and does star in Star Wars, like as Princess Leia.
That's going a bit too far.
But that's the thing about parallel universes. Like, we don't know, like, what
Possibilities
these
are
characters
endless.
are doing in different timelines. There could be a Deb out there that, you know, is a struggling actress and has no idea about science. You know,
Could be a Deb out there
and
that's
yet
helping
is
Nelson.
dragged into this whole like war for control.
yeah.
Or control like Nelson
Okay.
trying to control all timelines that have been created
Gonna pin that.
and basically trying to project his consciousness into anyone infected with the serum, basically make them like his own personal puppets. So, yeah, I would not. I want to be in that situation.
Sorry, correction. He did not say he knew Deb before she could walk. He didn't say it in the live stream. He said it in the official. So I did a correction there, and I pinned it in recording chat. So if you're listening to this in the future and you want to look at what Bethany was going off of, it's in recording chat on the Subject 4 podcast, and it is pinned. And basically it says Overkill knew of Deb before she could even walk. And then she goes on posting another thing that Overkill wrote. She's not on timeline 001, never has been. She's only been counting timelines fractured from hers. So I believe that means she's in 000 then. That proves your theory about 000, Bethany. I mean, there could be a timeline where Deborah's parents didn't meet and there could be no Deborah.
Right, she doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. So, well, Godbreaker, I'm gonna go ahead and thank you for your theories and your comments and your questions. We're gonna go ahead and give someone else a chance up here before we have to end it. But thank you so much.
Thank you. I am honored. Looking forward to our next conversation.
You too. All right. Bye. All right. Gracie, I'm going to pull you up. Hi, Gracie.
Hi.
Hi. So do you have a theory or a question or a comment?
Friend and I was watching the episode yesterday, and I did see this on the official Discord as well. They did point out when the drone really tried to reach out, they could see like a black box. That black box has something significant to what they're trying to do, what Nelson is trying to achieve.
I thought the black box was like, you know, in an RC car, the controller. That's what I thought that was.
Like a walkie-talkie, like some people said that they control the drone with to do the deeds.
Interesting.
What kind of freaked me out is like what Bethany said from the previous season with the mannequin. When we thought that the studio was haunted, in reality, it was him trying to tell us something. And also the fact that the mannequin was wearing Matt's clothing as well. Or prior to when Matt was under the influence of Nelson. And also the other previous season, I'm correct, when team went to Megadesk, he did open the files where when he did it, when he put the words on the computer, there was a bunch of files, and there was a couple of them were ziplined. And also wondering, because before that, right as he turned away, it just vanished. Like, what if Nelson tried to delete those files because he knew that we'll find out the truth? And then when he tried to stop it, he's trying to prevent us to like what we're trying to do.
So which files were you talking about? Sorry, what files
From the
disappeared?
previous when included the corrupted files of each subject 1 through 4.
Oh, you're talking about way back. I thought we were talking about like this previous episode. You're talking about when they were going to the running before the emulator.
When they first brought the server.
Notice that the
Yeah.
zip files like similar to us. Like, wait a minute, those files look familiar because we've seen those before it vanished, and now it just appeared. Like,
Well,
out of
we
thin
got
air.
those files. We did end up getting those files because they were in, I believe they were in the because I have them. Hold on. Let me see. We have the exam logs were in the filing cabinet.
Yeah.
We have those of subjects 1, 2, and 3. The only one that they couldn't open and the one that was
It's subject
corrupted
4.
was subject 4, which turned
Yeah.
out to be us.
Yes.
I don't think I don't think that's going to come into play because we have those files now. But
Yeah.
whether those are the correct files, that it could be.
It could be because kind of odd that achievement it every time you try it disappears. It little by little. Left was that of our files.
Yeah.
What's concerning?
It's
It's the chat
possible.
log that new chat log when Nelson literally said, "I don't believe in poisoning." Other chat log, they guys kind of distinctly remember that they're using the Barricade or some other paralytic to actually poison someone. I think he's trying to tell the truth to us.
The
Hide it from
absolute
reality.
in 863 in season 4, the absolute who was controlling Matthias killed someone. And that was the one that we kept referring to as Patient F. Patient F was killed. We assume was killed. Because they
We don't even
arrested, that
exactly
was when
know
they
what
arrested
happened.
Woods. It would be
Yeah.
interesting to find out how she was killed.
And I wanted to know too.
Because it'd be weird if it was poison, because he doesn't like poisoning. It would be
Right, it's too
weird if
crude
it
or
was
whatever.
like she just disappeared and just died of natural causes of old age. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, knowing Nelson, he likes to hide a lot of things from us. What concerns me is that previously from 863, when we brought up the point to check the server for like what Sirach said about the file thing, also with one of them was labeled the absolute.
Yeah.
That file has something of a key factor of what we're trying to find out in all of this.
Well, the absolute has to
They
gain,
reveal more stuff.
according to J. Cron, the absolute has to have power of all the timelines.
Yeah,
Has to gain
the
control.
absolute.
No, the absolute. We had the absolute and the absolute. So, but I don't know.
My
Does
theory is
anyone
that
have
it's
pictures
the
of
one.
what Grace was talking about with the drone box?
Yeah, because I think there's other methods of mind control. It's not just the time machine itself. Maybe Syntec is still a government after all. They do a lot of things behind their backs. It's possible that
This
other
drone
experiments.
can control people. The only thing that I have against that is there's nothing in the schematics of the drone that says that it can mind control people. It can control their timeline. It controlled how they move through their timeline, with time dilation. But as far as I can tell with the schematics, it travels through time. It can transition. It can control.
It did also mention something about the cognitive abilities or something like temporal stuff. I was like, huh.
With the temporal flux generators, the temporal flux generator, was a component inside the drone, which is another file that we got. And temporal and Sam thought it meant the mind, but temporal means time.
Yeah. It's possible that the drone did travel in time to alter or fabricate it, whatever. Because Dev kind of mentioned when he said, was there any indication that these files were like tampered with or no?
So on the temporal flux generator, we have parts. The temporal flux generator, we have the quantum flux entanglement emitter, the temporal gradient regulator, the flux oscillation control module, which does the time dilation.
Yeah.
The temporal gradient regulation mechanism. Ensures that temporal changes are not abrupt or disruptive. There's nothing in here that says mind control. Nothing. Let's go back to...
What concerns me is that in that image, if you could see it, there's like a person that seemed to be a person, or it could be like a robotic AI.
Yeah, it almost looked like someone standing in like a hazmat suit, almost all white.
That's it. People that injected Matt.
I'm just looking at the drone footage right now. Is he still here? Let's see. No.
I can't really tell what it is, but I could see like they were holding like a control panel thing to control the drone.
Yeah. I don't know what that black box is. It's weird though.
That's what I try to figure out too. It's like what's in that box that's particularly important.
Ink Knight says fun fact in the video, time did pass 50 milliseconds slower.
Thank you. I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's what I tried to figure out too. I was like, wait, what?
So Xander made the assumption that I did too. Xander says Matt in timeline 864 seems to be so much smarter in timeline 863. Since you weren't here, Xander, I'll explain what I think is going on. I think that he is smarter because he's a different person. He's Overkill from 013. And I believe that Overkill can influence our Matthias when he's wearing the Overkill glasses. So, like Nelson needed the absolute on Matthias to control him. Overkill uses his glasses to control our Matthias. I don't
Yeah.
think it's to the extent that Matthias is, that Overkill is absolutely controlling Matthias. I think that our Matthias and Overkill are both in control.
Yeah.
It's a nicer kind of mind control.
More like a
Matthias
partnership.
can take off the glasses at any time, type
Yeah.
of thing. So, and we do know that Matthias has different glasses, so those could be different overkills in different timelines.
That's actually true.
So that was my theory, and I'm not posting that on Reddit because I don't want Overkill to know that I know. That
I
is
really like that theory.
that is a strict just between me, you, and Subject 4 and whoever else is listening theory. So I don't want Overkill to know that I'm onto him. No.
But
Or
no,
I
you're
don't
not
want
onto
Overkill
him.
to laugh at me and be like, that's what you think? You guys are so dumb. Like, I don't want that either. So so it's just a theory for us, Subject 4. But Gracie, we're gonna have to say goodbye. We're gonna have to wrap things up. So I can have a dinner break before we do the After Dark. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great night, Gracie. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you're on it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We've been going on for a couple hours and my head hurts.
Mine too. There's a lot of. I always say I don't science very much, so my brain hurts.
So, little housekeeping things. If you are new to our Discord, be sure to go into our roles and make sure you have an 863 role. If you have not clicked the 863 role, our 863 basically rooms won't be open to you. So if you're new to the Discord, make sure that you are doing that. If you're here in the Discord and you just realize you had to do that, it's in our roles. Make sure you have the 863. Inky, can you drop a link to our Discord in the YouTube chat for me really quick? So yes, no, you're fine, Inky. I think that's the only thing. If you are also new here and you're like, what the heck is Subject 4 After Dark? That's basically where things get weird. I cannot promise it will be rated PG. But I can promise it will be a lot of fun. If you are looking through our videos and you notice that there is a video called Syntec Labs and you're like, what the heck is this? Join us for the After Dark when we talk about what we did to our Discord on April Fools. We do it every year on April Fools, so that is another incentive to join our Discord because if you are into mysteries and you're into puzzles, which I know you are because this is why you're here listening to this giant puzzle we call Project 863. Okay. Yeah, so whether we play a game, we'll see. I don't know. I think it's because we haven't been on stage, so we need to catch up with, like, what is Pastel doing? What is Dusty doing? What is Garrett doing? What is Sir Roxa doing if he joins?
Right.
I think it's a good time for us to catch up and see what everyone is doing. How is Artemis's health? Who knows? I don't know. I really don't know. But you can tune in to the subject for After Dark. Inky just posted the to the event in our recording chat so you guys can join. It will be here on the stage. It is at 6 p.m. today, Pacific Standard Time. If you look at the event on Discord automatically puts it in your time zone. So it says at the very top of the invite, it says today at, that is in your time zone. So Discord automatically does that for you.
So easy.
Yep. So we'll see you guys there. I'm gonna go get some dinner, hang out with my dogs. Make sure you guys go drink some water, touch some grass. Please make sure you're touching some grass. You know, go outside, get some fresh air. We were mind dumped on by a lot of things. So, and a lot of science dumped on you. A lot of science that, is college level science. So yeah, so make sure you guys are taking care of yourself. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube, once again, check out the description, leave a like, subscribe. I don't even know, like all the professional YouTubers are like, look at this graph, only like 15% of you are subscribed. I have no idea. I know that there are some spellbound people who listen and aren't subscribed, they lurk. So I know that our graph was probably higher than most YouTubers, so I don't usually do that. But please leave a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm gods. Post a comment. Let us know if you're listening to us in the future, let us know what your theories and what your thoughts, and if you agree with us. If you don't agree with us, please let me know. If you don't agree with anything, with any of my ideas, if you think my idea that Overkill is using glasses to control her Matthias is absolutely stupid and here's why, please let me know. This is how the conversation that subject 4, when we get together and we have conversations like this, it makes us the best subject person out there, because subject 4 is so powerful because there's many of us and we get to get together and blow each other's brains out of the water, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right, you guys be good, be blessed, have a great rest of your week. I have no idea when we are going to continue, and for the people asking if there's an upload schedule, I have no idea. As soon as I know from the big man, I will let you guys know if I'm allowed to. But as of right now, the only upload that I can give you is that every Friday at 2:00 Pacific Standard Time, there will be an Overkill video. It was running late. This last video was running late because of technical difficulties, because that seems to be going around. But we are patient. We are kind. Especially when we know that Matthias stayed in his office until like 7 p.m. last night trying to get that video up for us.
Oh my goodness.
I know, poor dude. After
Poor
like
guy.
editing for like 12 hours. So
Oh my goodness.
I know. So make sure
Thank you.
go over to the official Discord. Tell him thank you. Don't at him or ping him, but you can write a message for him on there. My voice is starting to go. But you can also
water.
Yeah. I have water. Hold on, let me take a sip. I have a lot of water.
Everybody, this is your time to drink a water.
Yes. Yes. All right, grab your snacks. Join us for this subject 4 After Dark, and we'll see you guys there. It'll be a party. Have a great one. Bye, YouTube.
Bye.